We've previously talked about creating an environment that's conducive to helping you live a healthier life, and I want to expand on that a little bit and talk today about helping you get rid of clutter. A lot of you might think, what does that have to do with improving my health? It may not be a big health issue, but it definitely is one with wellness, so I'll explain that in just a minute. Obviously, your environment affects your mood and how you feel. To give a couple examples of that, our family's done many trips to California, and usually when we drive through Vegas, we'll stop by a casino and get one of their cheap buffets. But in order to get to the buffet, you've got to walk through the casino, and it's so interesting when you get there, the environment. You come in and you got smoke, you've got flashing lights, you hear coins jingling, alarms, buzzers, just so much noise. There's no windows, there's no clocks, they don't want you to know what time it is. They just want you to get immersed and stuck in that environment. And for a lot of people, that's an unpleasant environment. So I'd like to contrast that if you've ever been to Disneyland. Now, I know a lot of people hate Disneyland, but they do such a good job of controlling the environment, even if it is a little bit fabricated and not really authentic, some people might say, but still they do a great job. When you walk in, everything's clean. If you see someone drop a piece of garbage, there'll be some guy that'll sneak out of the bushes and pick it up and just quietly step back, and it's just amazing how they're on top of everything. The landscaping's great, it's beautiful, it's clean. Everything is done with intent there. The way the lines line up, the way where everything's located, and it's not just the visually, it's also the sounds. They've got nice music in different areas. They've got birds chirping. You go to different areas, they'll even affect your smell. That you'll smell churros or cotton candy, or treats and stuff like that. They're pumping that smell out there, so they really do a good job of creating a positive environment. So that just shows, depending on what kind of environment you're creating, that can definitely affect your mood and how you're feeling in those places. Another area that illustrates this is with real estate. My brother-in-law is a real estate broker, and I used to work with him and help him with his clients when they're listing their home, get them ready for showings. And so I'd go in there and consult and ask them to do certain things and recommend certain things they do to make the home look more presentable and more relatable to people. And it's interesting that regardless of how nice the home was, everyone just really struggles. It's like pulling teeth to get people to move their stuff out of their house. But without fail, whenever I could get people to take stuff to a storage unit or move things out or declutter, they always had a lot more positive results and showed a lot better than when they wanted to keep all their stuff with them. So it's just a natural inclination as humans for us to just collect stuff and hold on to stuff. It just happens. You don't have to plan it. It's going to happen. So that's why it's important for us to declutter occasionally and clean things out. I found there's three main areas where you'll see this the most in most homes. The first one is with clothing. A lot of us have clothes in our closets that we haven't worn for years. Sometimes it won't fit. Sometimes they're old and worn out, but they just have nostalgic value or something. But I recommend you go through, if you have clothes that you haven't worn forever, give them to Goodwill or DI or whoever, just let someone else benefit from them, but make some room for it. So a quick side note with clothing. When I was younger, one of my friend's fathers was very frugal. He didn't ever want to throw stuff out. He'd use it till the very end. And so whenever his family would give him a tie or a shirt or something like that, they would present him on his birthday with that and then say, okay, now give me your worst, rattiest t-shirt, we're gonna throw it away instead. And they'd have to do that or else he'd just keep collecting. So sometimes we gotta force ourselves to get rid of things that we don't need anymore. The second area is with papers. And again, this is one where stuff's just gonna come to you whether you want it or not. If you have a mailbox, you're gonna start getting junk mail and all kinds of things. So I encourage you to go paperless. Just do things that you can to simplify so you've got less paper and less clutter around you in your life. The third area is with appliances and furniture. It's funny, the more junk we collect, then we say, hey, I need a new bookshelf, I need a new desk, I need a new file cabinet to keep track of all this stuff. And so sometimes we can really go overboard with having too much stuff in our house and in the rooms, and you get claustrophobic, it gets crowded, and it gives off some bad vibes in that way. A lot of times we'll actually become blinded to this. We don't see it ourselves. And this is obvious if you've ever seen an episode of Hoarders. I don't know if it makes me want to scream or cry when I watch those, but it's just so frustrating to see people that have gotten to that point where they just, obviously there's some mental illness involved in a lot of those cases, but it's sad when things get that extreme. So it does take some effort for us to clean things out. I know purge is a strong word, but declutter and clean things occasionally will be a good way we can avoid that sort of thing. So I'd like to challenge you this week to declutter part of your house. For most people to say, I'm going to clean out my whole house, that's just too daunting. So just pick one room that you can start with and do what you can there. If that's too much for you, just pick your junk drawer. Take it out, dump everything out, throw out all the bad pens, the crumbs, the garbage, and just reorganize it. Doing something as simple as that can be a good step into starting to take control and get order and decluttering things out of your house. Some of you might just want to do that with your emails. Some of you have thousands and thousands of unread emails. Unsubscribe from some of those lists. If you're getting junk emails all the time, think of the time you're wasting every time you look and read the title of a thing before you decide if you're going to open it. So there's a lot we can do to simplify things and just not deal with that stuff in the first place. My wife taught me years ago the value of creating a vacuum in your life. If there's something you want, make room for it. I remember we once had a secondhand, really ratty, dirty couch, nasty, it had stains on it and everything, and she hated it so bad. And one day I came home from work and it was just gone. So there was nowhere to sit in our living room except on the floor. And it's funny, when she did that, it was less than a week that we had a replacement couch that was a lot nicer, and she just made room for that, and things happen that way. So if you're something you want to get new, get rid of the old to make room for the new. So as you declutter and get rid of things, you'll notice you'll feel a lot better. You'll have more space. Things will feel more open. You won't feel so claustrophobic. You'll be able to think clearly. You'll have greater creativity. It makes a huge difference when you're in that type of environment. One other thing I'd like to point out is with actual health and safety with clutter. A lot of times you'll see people cleaning out these hoarder houses, and they'll have like mouse droppings and dead rodents and cobwebs and bugs and all that kind of stuff. It's just so much harder to keep it clean and sanitary when you've got too much clutter. That goes for your kitchen, your fridge, your bathroom, just anything having to do with hygiene and sanitation. You're going to do so much better if you have an uncluttered area. It's going to be easier to keep it clean and sanitary. So my challenge for you this week is to find a room or an area of your house and just start to declutter and simplify and clean, and you'll feel much better, and it will do wonders for your mood. If you've seen several of these videos on this channel and you've enjoyed them or benefited from them, feel free to subscribe or share these with others. I have lots of fun video topics I'm going to be sharing in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for more information.